The morning had started like any other for Tucker Calloway, a seasoned fisherman who knew every current and ripple of Florida's coast. The sun had just begun to burn away the mist clinging to the water, and the rhythmic hum of his boat's engine blended with the cries of distant seagulls. It was peaceful until something in the distance broke the pattern. Through the shimmer of the morning tide, Tucker saw a strange dark shape resting near the shoreline. At first, he thought it might be a capsized kayak or a piece of driftwood, but as the waves rolled back, the metallic curve glinted under the sunlight. It wasn't wood, it was something solid, unnatural. Curiosity took over. Tucker reeled in his nets and guided his small boat toward the shore. The closer he got, the more bizarre it appeared. Half buried in the wet sand was what looked like a miniature submarine, no larger than a pickup truck, its hull painted matte gray and covered with seaweed and scratches. Tucker's instincts told him this wasn't a Coast Guard vessel. There were no markings, no registration numbers, and the propeller looked crudely reinforced, as if it had been built in secret. His gut tightened. He jumped into the shallow water, boots sinking into the sand as he approached the object. The hatch was sealed shut, but he could see faint dents around the edges, as though someone had tried and failed to open it before. The air around it carried a faint chemical odor mixed with salt and diesel. "This isn't good," Tucker muttered under his breath. He stepped back, pulled out his phone, and called the authorities. "Yeah, this is Tucker Calloway down near Pelican Beach. You're gonna want to see this. It looks like a submarine." Within minutes, the calm morning transformed into a full-blown crime scene. Police cruisers, Coast Guard trucks, and even a helicopter converged on the beach. Officers began roping off the area while marine specialists examined the strange vessel. Locals gathered nearby, whispering among themselves. "What is it? Some kind of experiment? Maybe military?" But the officials' faces told a different story. They were cautious, speaking in low tones, and treating the craft as if it might explode at any moment. The hatch was sealed tight, and it took nearly an hour for the bomb squad to give the green light for inspection. When they finally pried it open, everyone braced themselves expecting maybe to find machinery, or even the remains of its crew. But instead, what they saw made every single person on that beach go silent. Inside, the small compartment was crammed wall-to-wall with black waterproof bags, tightly packed and stacked with military precision. The smell of chemicals grew stronger. The officers exchanged nervous glances before carefully pulling one of the packages out. They slid it open. A white powder spilled into the air, catching the sunlight. It didn't take long for one of the narcotics officers to confirm it. "It's cocaine," he said flatly. The crowd gasped. Tucker's eyes widened. What had washed ashore wasn't just a mystery. It was a multi-million-dollar secret meant never to be found. As the realization sank in, the calm Florida beach erupted into chaos. Officers rushed to secure the site, shouting orders and pushing back the curious onlookers. The Coast Guard quickly sealed the hatch again, while a drone hovered overhead capturing the scene. Tucker stood back, still trying to process what he had just stumbled upon. He'd fished these waters his entire life, yet never imagined finding something straight out of a crime thriller. Within the hour, forensic experts arrived. They laid out tarps, began cataloging every piece of evidence, and took samples from the hull. The submarine's design baffled even the most experienced investigators. It was clearly handmade, but frighteningly advanced, built for stealth. Its propeller blades were wrapped in rubber to muffle sound, and the small ventilation holes had filters designed to avoid radar detection. "This isn't amateur work," one officer whispered to another. "Whoever built this knew exactly what they were doing." The lead investigator, Agent Ramirez from the DEA, soon confirmed everyone's suspicions. This was a narco submarine, a vessel used by cartels to smuggle drugs along coastal routes under the radar. But something about this one was different. Most of these subs were manned, piloted by desperate traffickers who rarely survived the journey. This one, however, had no seats, no controls, no human traces at all. Ramirez ordered a deeper inspection. Technicians discovered an internal remote control unit, complete with GPS and a custom-built autopilot system. Whoever designed it had planned for it to run unmanned, a floating robot carrying millions in illegal cargo. "It's a ghost ship," Ramirez muttered. As the investigation expanded, the story took an even darker turn. The Coast Guard's maritime tracking data showed that the sub's last signal came from nearly 200 miles offshore, close to an area known for cartel activity. Experts determined that it was supposed to rendezvous with a larger ship for pickup, but the guidance system had failed. A glitch in the GPS caused the vessel to drift off course, eventually washing up on Florida's coast. By the time it reached Tucker's Beach, it was running on its last bit of battery power. A total of 57 packages were recovered, containing over a ton of pure cocaine valued at nearly $15 million. But that wasn't the end of it. The real shock came when investigators traced the electronic components inside the sub back to a small engineering firm in Mexico, one that had gone bankrupt years ago but had secretly continued producing parts under new names. Within days, arrests followed across multiple states. The DEA linked the vessel to a major cartel operating between Colombia and the Gulf of Mexico. Tucker's discovery had accidentally exposed an international smuggling route, and his name made headlines nationwide. Local fisherman uncovers $15 million cartel submarine, the newspapers read. When asked about the event, Tucker remained humble. "I was just doing what I always do, checking the water. Guess the ocean had a surprise for me this time." As the waves lapped quietly against the shore that evening, the wrecked submarine sat chained behind yellow tape, a silent monument to greed and ingenuity gone wrong. For Tucker, it was a story he would tell for the rest of his life, how one ordinary morning turned into a discovery that rippled across the world. Sometimes, the sea hides more than fish beneath its surface. Sometimes, it hides secrets powerful enough to make even the bravest officers turn pale.